I was asked about blues tones within the fractal world, and although it's not necessarily, I think the blues world might be one of the harder nuts to crack in terms of getting folks that are playing in these traditional kind of club settings to maybe convert over to modelling, but there's no reason that you can't get really convincing tones out of the fractal world, because it has the most choice for Fender amps and that sort of stuff that I think is really quite an important part of the blues tone, as well as kind of dumbles and all that sort of stuff that I've done other videos on. These videos are brought to you by G66 UK. I'm actually doing a video here with the FM9, the Axe-Fx and FM9. One of the benefits of them is that you can use dual amps within these, and of course you've got, you know, double or even more processing than the FM3. Those are in stock at G66 UK now, so if you want to check those out if you were thinking about grabbing one. So let's jump into this tone and I'll show you what's going on. So this actually started off as a preset by my buddy Jake Loosemore. Going in, and we've got a compressor, Studio FF compressor, -20 threshold, ratio 2, etc, etc, 100% mix. This is just to give us a bit of compression up at the front end, can help the feel and stuff like that. Then we've got a Jan Ray. The Vemoram Jan Ray is based on essentially the Timmy, which we've also got in here, right? So you could consider switching that out for a Timmy as well. And yep, gain, bass and treble, as you see there, 5, 5 and 4, level at 4.69. Then I've got an FAS Vibe here. This is like a Uni-Vibe, which is quite important for certain tones. I'll show you some of those later on, but you can see the settings there, and the mix at 60%, I guess that's important, and so on. Then we've also got a TS-808, the tube screamer, obviously incredibly important part of the blues. You know, a tube screamer into a Fender amp was a thing for many of our favourite blues players. We've got the drive here at 4, tone at 6, the level at 2.41, mix at 100. Then, this is another kind of important factor I think is worth chucking in once you've kind of dialed in the other stuff. An analog mono delay, about 140 milliseconds with a low mix. 9.3 is what I've got here. You can go lower, you can go higher. This is for our slapback thing. It helps to add some bounce to things. So if I just take it off, helps give us kind of that a bit of maybe that ambience room thing going on. But slapback, quite an important part of many blues players' tones, Robin Ford included. Right, so then the first amp here, the Princeton 5F2. I think this is like a tweed Princeton style. Gain at 5.59, tone at 6.94, level at minus 15.3. Here going into 2-rock cab, so factory cab 127 and 133, the 57A and the 121B API. I've actually got these panned to the right though. And then this other amp here, because quite an important part for a lot of kind of killer blues players, it's kind of a dual amping thing, right? So I've got the vibrato verb based on Cliff's 64, I believe, vibroverb. This is the amp choice for Stevie Ray Vaughan for a while. The gain at 5.85, the bass at 5.83, and the treble at 5.83. I think Stevie tried to often have his knobs at 6 or something like that, right? I can remember reading that somewhere. We've got a bright switch, which is an option there, but not necessarily needing that on. And then factory cab 618, which is the 1x15 within this cab, and I've got this one panned the other direction. Then we come into a tremolo, which is not on for most of these scenes, but those are the settings. Kind of a slow trem, 1.284. For kind of ballad blues playing, I guess that could be useful. A stereo tape delay here, which is possibly not typical of most blues stuff, but in case you wanted it. And then a large spring, 3.16 seconds, echo density 4. The mix here quite high at 20%. You could take this down if you'd like to. Now I'll just take you through some of the scenes and what happens, because there are some options. This ODS vibrato verb TS. So this is basically the Princeton and the Vibrolux. It's not the Vibrolux, is it? The Vibroverb, sorry. And that slapback maybe helps give you that sort of club type feeling, you know, where you can hear the thing bouncing off the walls in the club. Right, not a nightclub, I meant like a blues club. Okay, and then scene 2, we've got the vibrato verb. So here we've got an ODS 100 clean, the gain at 7.3, bass at 6, mids at 5, treble at 6.5, presence at 5, master volume at 6.5, and I've taken the level to minus 6.8 to balance it out a bit. And we kick on the tube screamer for this. Okay, scene 3 is just basically the ODS and the vibe reverb without any other effects. So you get the kind of slapback going into these clean amps. Okay, and then we've got scene 4, which is the tube screamer into the Princeton and vibe reverb with a bit of delay as well. Then we got the Jan Ray into the Princeton and vibe reverb. A little bit thicker, a bit more throaty. Really nice. Okay, then the Jan Ray into the ODS. More headroom for that. Now here's a thing. Fuzz face, we've taken the drive up quite high, taken the level down to 2.7 and the tone stays in the middle, but we turn that phaser on, or like Uni-Vibes. So for that kind of, you know, really over the top thing. And then last of all, I kind of thought tube screamer into a trem. What I also want to try here though is another really good option. So we'll put this on C, the Zen drive of course, but what about the blues OD? If I got rid of this trem, actually, yeah, I'm going to use that instead. So this is the Blues Breaker, which I think is on John Mayer's board for a reason. It does really do. Thing. So those are some kind of just tones that I kind of put together that I think demonstrate that you don't really have to do much to get a really kind of decent rootsy blues tone out of this thing. You know, I think it does help to keep things kind of simple when you're thinking about it, like what would a typical blues rig actually look like. Probably we're not going to be talking about tons and tons of effects. We might be thinking about a couple of drive pedals in front of a couple of amps, a slapback delay. Just keep it simple to start with and try and get something that you're happy with in terms of feel. Maybe even stick in a fuzz. If you want to get really wild with it. But that's that preset. And I think that blues OD might be... just gives so much sparkle on top. Give that a try. I'll drop this preset into the folder if you want to check out on Gumroad. This preset will work for Axe-Fx or FM9, but if you're interested in that, I've shown you all of the kind of key components so you could build it yourself and experiment yourself as well. But thank you for stopping by, and thank you to G66 UK, where you can grab an FM9 or an Axe-Fx III and run this kind of thing if you're looking to do that. Cheers for now.